Hey guys, it's Lots, and today we're going to talk about what it means to be a man. I've been seeing a couple of videos about this topic, and I think it's super interesting, and I just wanted to give my opinion on it. To start off, I feel like when most people hear the phrase be a man, I feel like they get a certain image or a set of words that they hear in their head. I just think back to when I was a kid and I'd be upset about something, right? And I'd hear, "Oh, come on, be a man." And I think what that taught me, right, is that, as a man, you're not really supposed to get upset about stuff. You're not supposed to cry. You're not really supposed to show any weakness. So I think when I hear that phrase, I think of, you have to be strong. You have to be, a leader. You have to not show weakness. And then when you get further into talking about, the relationship or like a family, dynamic, I think the man is typically the one that is like the provider, they're kind of the leader of the family. In comparison, how the wife would typically stay at home, raise the kids. And that's how it was for a long time. I feel like it wasn't until, a couple, I guess previous generations, I guess, where I feel like that's really changed. And I know that's not for everyone. I know for me personally, like my mom quit her job when she had my brother and she became a full-time, stay-at-home mom. My dad kept his job, provide the financial support for the family, and my mom stayed home and raised me and my brother. And I'm not here to say that that's not the correct way or that is the only way to, live a life. I mean, everyone has their own opinion. You could do whatever you want with your life. I really don't care at the end of the day. But I feel like the definition of what it means to be a man has definitely changed, especially in, recent years. I mean, I think first off, just the topic of mental health has been much more accepted and much more of a prominent, I guess, issue. I mean, literally this channel, most of the stuff we talk about is about mental health. But even just, in the general population, mental health is much more accepted, and especially with men. As I said, as a kid growing up, even, that was only less than 20 years ago. I'm 23 years old. I would always hear, "Oh, come on, be a man," like that stuff was still in my mind. And I feel like it wasn't really until the past 10 years where I feel like mental health and men's mental health specifically has definitely become more accepted and understanding, which I think is a very good thing because I feel like that doesn't really make you less of a man if you're showing emotion, right? I don't think that is something that we should be pushing on people. I wanted to talk about this topic because I definitely think for me personally, I don't fit into that idea of, the stereotypical idea of what being a man is. I think I definitely have certain qualities of it and aspects of it, but I definitely don't think I'm, that idea, I guess. I don't know. Because I think of, a big, strong, man, I guess. I don't know. I'm a pretty skinny dude. So, I don't have it on that aspect. I can't fight anyone. I definitely have my emotional side, and I'm not really afraid to talk about it with people. So, I guess that is another thing that doesn't really fit into that stereotype. And I guess the last thing is I definitely have personality traits that people, I guess, wouldn't consider to be very, masculine. And what I mean by that is just mainly when I'm hanging out with other girls, I could kind of lean into my more feminine side, I guess, where it's I could kind of match their energy and whatever they're doing. So with that is some personality traits as well, where it's not very definition of what it means to be a man. But does that make me any less of a man than another guy? I don't think that personally. I think everyone has their own definition of that and everyone could kind of be the man that they want to be. But just because my view of it is different than someone else's doesn't mean I'm any more or less of a man than they are, and same vice versa. But the thing that I think about that I do think I would kind of fit into that more stereotypical, I guess, definition of what it means to be a man is when I would get into a relationship. I mean, I don't know this because I've never been in a relationship, but I feel like when I think of, how I want my relationship to be in the future, I do kind of see myself as, I'm just going to say the man, which I don't really know how to word it because I feel like even if I say that, it sounds a little off, but I'm just going to say that because I feel like most people kind of understand that. But I think this way just because how I was raised, how I seen my parents' relationship and what they've taught me from it, and I wouldn't switch up at all. I'm not going to lose some of my feminine personality just because I have a girlfriend. I'm not going to not show any of my emotions to them just because, oh, I can't let them see this now. No, what I mean by that is kind of taking on that role of okay, I'm the guy in this relationship. And what I think that means is I should kind of be the one, if we go out to dinner, I'll always offer to pay. I'll want to protect her, stuff like that. Just some of those more, I guess, traditional, stereotypical things where you think of how a relationship works between a guy and a girl. But I also wouldn't be opposed to say I offer to pay and she's no, I want to pay this time. I'm not gonna be no, that's not your role. No, that's so stupid. like I would be like, okay, like bet I'm down, but I would always offer to. But yeah, just going back to like the individual stuff, like I wouldn't say I'm not a man. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't say like I don't act like a man. Like I think I definitely fit the definition of it, but it's not that traditional definition you may always think of. And I don't know. I think it's just super interesting how everyone has a different opinion on it, but I think that's okay, right? I don't think just because someone disagrees with me or I might disagree with you, that doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you have a different viewpoint. And especially when it comes to a relationship, right? It's your relationship. If it's working for you and both parties are happy with it, I don't think it's a problem. I think the big thing is just one way of looking at it is a very traditional way of looking at it, and another way of looking at it is kind of like the newer, I guess, evolved. I don't know how to word it, but modern. There's the word for it. Another modern way to looking at it. But I don't think either way is really wrong, as long as you're not like hurting anybody or hurting yourself and stuff like that. The one thing I think is a little off is the whole mental health thing. I think that is definitely, at least how I feel like that is something that really, it's a human thing. It's not a gender thing. So I think that's something that definitely shouldn't be seen as like, oh, you're not a man because you're like getting upset about something. Like, I don't know, I think that's kind of stupid. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about this. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.